Welcome to the Chamber Connection. I'm Mary Hodson, President of the Chamber of Commerce here in Hutchinson, Minnesota, where you know we love to say there's much in Hutch. And today I am so excited to introduce to you, if you do not know him, the one and only Daron Vanderheiden, who has made me do this twice already because he's made me giggle, Superintendent of the Hutchinson Public Schools. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, I bet you are right about now. Hey, so I'm super excited to talk to you today, be able to kind of review what's happening because another school year is literally around the corner. Schools are getting ready, teachers are starting to maybe filter in, those kinds of things are happening. So let's just take a little bit of a look back. What's been happening during the summer? Because I know there's been some updates going on, just regular maintenance, but people don't always understand that that's happening.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I was talking off air earlier and talking about how short summer really is. Mm-hmm. So our summer lasts until July 4th. On July 5th, we go into back to school. Okay. And really we've been focusing on it since then. So yeah, I mean, this summertime is a time for us to clean the buildings, do the routine maintenance that we can't do when kids are occupying the buildings. Although our buildings remain busy in the summertime, right, it is the opportunity to do those repairs and the cleaning that's necessary. So
yeah, you can't always do repairs or do floors or some of those things when there's somebody always underfoot.
Yes. In fact, we just had our summer picnic today with all of our summer cleaners showing appreciation to everything that they do to get our schools ready.
Awesome. So what is it going to look like come the end of August? There's some open houses, there's opportunities for kids to go in and get schedules depending on their school. What's this time frame now look like in August?
Yeah, so we invite our new teachers back a week earlier than everybody else, and we do a 5-day workshop with them, catching them up on what the district's about, getting them acclimated to the curriculum, their classrooms, their buildings, that kind of thing.
Great.
And then the following week, we have all staff report, and we spend 4 days in a back-to-school workshop with them. As part of that week, we do a open house at each building. So on Wednesday, I think it's the 28th of August, we'll invite all of our families and students in for that open house.
Okay.
Something different this year is, in the past, we haven't done open house at West as a traditional open house like we've done at the other buildings. But this year, we're going to actually have an open house for first grade families.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and our kindergarten students, they're going to start the second day of school, and we actually do a parent-teacher conference with every family prior to that first day with kindergarten students.
What a great
and their families.
Idea.
Yes. It works out really well. There's a lot of nervous moms and dads sending some of their children off to school for the first time.
Right.
So this kind of calms their nerves and they see that everything's going to be fine and they start the second day.
Yeah, I think most of the time the kindergartners are ready. It's mom and or dad who might not be ready.
Yeah.
Whether it's their first, their middle, or their last.
Right.
It doesn't, I don't know that it matters either way.
Yeah.
So.
As you know, Mary, I was the principal of West for a few years, so I got to see that firsthand. And there was a lot of parents that follow the bus all the way from their house back to West Elementary to make sure everything goes okay those first days. So, yeah, but it's really exciting for them, and families are excited to have their kids go back to school as well.
I'm just saying, I did not live in a time, I was not going to kindergarten in a time where you did that, right? You might stand out by the end of the driveway. Mm-hmm. Mine was at the end of the driveway out in the country, and I got okay, there you go.
Right.
And you got that big bus driver you don't know, somebody that is a different face, and you get on the bus and you just kind of wait. Right. And we make it so much easier for kids to feel comfortable going into something that could be very fretful and anxiety-ridden.
Right.
So I think that you guys do a really nice job. I love that idea of giving parents an opportunity ahead of time to talk with a teacher.
And I always encourage all families and all kids to attend the open houses, even if they've been part of our school system. It relieves some of that anxiety that kids have going back for the first day. They get to see their classrooms, they get to meet their new teacher for the year. All around, I think it's a good thing for both the parents and the children.
Love that. So I'm pretty sure you're starting with a new half-day session with the new teachers about how to use much in Hutch, right?
Well, that'll be part of our tour.
Yes.
So we're going to do the tour of Hutchinson with our new teachers as we've done in the past. And of course, you'll be invited to participate in that.
I have it on my calendar.
Yes.
Okay, how many new staff do you have that you're bringing on?
We've got approximately 15 new staff between support staff and new
Okay.
teachers coming on. So, like I say, we'll bring them in a week before everybody else and spend some time with them, getting to know them.
Plus, then they'll see the other new faces, so they don't
Right.
feel like they're the only ones.
Right.
That's a great
Yeah,
thing.
we learned a long time ago it's really hard for our new people to come in at the same time as everybody else because they
Right.
just tend to fall through the cracks. So
Drinking
this
through
is,
the fire
yeah, yes.
hydrant is not fun.
Right.
Yeah.
And then we match our new teachers with a mentor teacher as well.
Oh, okay,
so
good.
then they get a chance to spend some time that week with them.
Totally
and then
makes
they
sense.
have somebody that on that first day when we have 480 employees show up, they know some people, which is also important.
Right. So a lot of people don't realize that you're one of the top 5 employers in Hutchinson.
Right. Yeah, we employ just short of 500 people at most times. And with that many people, our workforce is always fluctuating. It seems like we always have an opening, and then we
Yep.
fill everything, and then we'll have another one. But yeah, about
Yeah.
500 employees.
Yeah. That always impresses me because I don't think people really think about the fact that you may have a handful of teachers here. People don't always think about the paras, the support
Right.
staff, the people that keep the building up and running, who are just as important to the team as everyone else. And then you've got central office as well.
Right.
So there's a lot of things happening.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. In fact, when you look at the makeup of our employee groups, we have about 200 licensed teachers. We have about 180 support staff. We have about 20 custodial maintenance folks. And then we have an administrative group of about 15.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's, I think it's really interesting and good for people to hear and have a better understanding of you're a business.
Absolutely.
You know, you get to see people on TV talk about the business of the school, but people don't always think about the fact that you are running a business. You have a budget, you have employees, you have all these
Right.
pieces and parts that are very similar to another company that would be in town.
Yeah.
It just looks different,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
So let's talk about some of the new programs. You've got some new things that are going to be happening that are great for when people go to the open house and learn more about them. But you have some strategic things, you have some fun things, you have some different classes. Let's talk about some of those. No, let's talk about your new middle school principal.
Yes, you've met Brenda
Yes.
Vatauer. We're very excited about her. I think she's going to be a superstar for us.
Yes.
And she's replacing Todd Grenna, who's been there a long time.
Long time, yeah.
He's been a friend and a colleague and has done a great job over
Yep.
the years. So Brenda's got big shoes to fill there,
Yep.
but we're excited about it, and I think she's going to be fantastic.
I think that she's going to do great things. As I told you before we started, I've had a couple of meetings with her now as we talk about Tiger Path, workforce, how can businesses be part of the middle school. And she is just really a go-getter. She's like, how do we make this happen? How do we do this? So I think parents and students are going to be really pleased.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I just met with her this morning about Tiger Path and how the middle school might get involved with that. And I think between her and staff, they'll generate some really good
Yeah.
ideas on how they can partner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk. I know that we talked a little bit about the open houses. Let's talk about those happen on certain days. Let's talk about snow days.
Yeah.
Let's
we've
talk
got-
about, because you've got some e-learning things going
Sure.
on. There are going to be a little bit of adjustment this year.
Well, as you know, last year we had a crazy winter.
Really?
We missed more school days than we've missed.
I just thought we didn't have a spring.
Yeah,
Right?
It just kept
It
going and going
and going.
and going.
In
Yeah.
chunks of days.
Yes. Yeah. So we missed more days last year than we had in the previous 13 years. So last year we missed 5 school days, 5 full school days, and then we were out early and we had a number of late starts. So we're hoping for a more normal winter this winter. But just in case we do have some of those closure days, we're introducing something new. We've been doing e-learning days with our secondary students at the middle school and high
Yeah,
school
yeah.
during those snow days. So the idea is we would teach online and we would have some digital formats so we didn't miss a school day. So kids could still be involved with the lessons and the activities, and the teachers reported and delivered those.
And then you didn't have to make up so many days at the end.
Yeah, that's
which
correct.
gets that's a lot of anxiety for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Because they're thinking about vacation, they're thinking about graduation, they've
Right.
got other things going on at that end of the year, right? Everybody sees that end point, and for it to keep creeping.
Yes. And sometimes it just doesn't make sense. If you think about a high school schedule, some of those days we miss in the second trimester. So it doesn't make any sense to make up those same days in June during third trimester.
Right.
So we want to keep going with the curriculum and stay in sequence
Great
and
point.
get through everything. So it makes a lot more sense to do e-learning days on the actual snow event or the inclement weather day.
Because it's going to be part of that trimester.
Yes.
That makes so
Yes.
much sense. I
Right.
didn't think about it that way.
Yeah, so that's
sense.
something. Yeah, it's something that MDE is supporting. In fact, to the
Great.
point where the legislature passed some statutes that allow us to do up to 5 e-learning days per year,
Okay.
based on inclement weather days. So they've built it in that that's an appropriate way to do things.
Nice.
And as you know, online learning is growing leaps and bounds across our state and across the country. So this is really just a chance for us to at least get involved with it.
It gives kids a taste of what it might be like should they choose that in their future as well, right?
Right.
Because I think a lot of people think, oh, well, I can do it on my own. And then they get to that point and they realize, oh, maybe this isn't for me, or maybe they do very well with it.
Sure.
So I like that opportunity
Yeah.
to kind of test it out before they start paying for it somewhere down the road.
Yeah, and I think you bring up a couple of good points. Most of the post-secondary experiences our kids are going to see when they leave our high school involve some type of online learning. Even if they go to a traditional college or tech school, they're still going to have some online components. So this gives them an opportunity to see that before they leave high school. So what's really new is we're going to try to pull this off with K-5 as well.
Okay.
So some of our youngest learners are going to get an opportunity for digital days or e-learning days. So over the past about 6 months, we're looking at some best practices from other districts that have already done this. So an e-learning day.
So you're not trying to pull off something that's never been done before.
Right.
Right?
Other people are doing it, and it's part of the legislation that this is a K-12 initiative.
Right.
So the e-learning days is going to look very different for a 5-year-old compared to a 17-year-old.
Right.
It has to look different. So that's what we're working on, and we're looking to partner with daycares and moms and dads and grandma and grandpas that are home with those children during the day. So yeah, we're excited about it, and it's going to take, there'll be a learning curve to it. It's going to take us a while for us to get good at it,
Right.
But at least this is a start.
And you got to start somewhere. You got to crawl before you walk, walk
Right.
before you run.
Yeah. And if I had it my way, we wouldn't have one e-learning day next winter. But if we do,
Right.
because that means we're having a good winter, right?
Right.
And we can get to school safely every day.
Yep.
So hopefully it won't be 5, but at least we'll get to do it a couple of times.
Well, here's the thing. We live in Minnesota. Who knows what can happen at any given time? I mean, we're looking at that with the construction project, right? We have no idea what could happen with the weather.
Right.
Yeah.
So the weather is what the weather is, and we're going to deal with it, and we're going to try these e-learning days, and we're going to get better at them.
I kind of like your idea of no e-learning days simply because that means that we're golfing March 15th or to the 23rd.
Yeah, and that has happened.
It surely has. That's why I'm pulling out those dates because I know they have.
Yeah.
In other years, we just haven't. So it's interesting that it's been 13 years since we've had those kind of numbers too.
Right. Yeah. Any of the records that we've maintained over the last 13 years, we've never had 5. So
yeah, that's
right.
It was a lot, and it was draining for a lot of people because that impacts. When it impacts school, it impacts businesses.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because of course, some people follow the school district for their own snow policy, or parents who are then trying to manage their children and where are they going to go and do I need to stay home and those types of things.
And that's why it's such a difficult decision too, because I understand that.
Yeah.
And we'll have parents leaving for work in the Twin Cities or whatever, and then school gets called. And that's why we try to call it as early as possible. And when possible, I always try to make sure that I make that decision the night before,
Right.
If it's inevitable. Just to try to help families out.
Right.
So, and for the most part, families are really good about it, and they understand that. And we make the decision based on getting kids to school safely and getting them home safely, and that's the bottom line. And it may be an inconvenience, but that's just part of the deal.
I think, speaking from this side of it, because I know what you I don't even know what you go through for that, but I know from this side, I think that we are so driven by what we have to do that we stop to think that, oh, this is actually a safety decision. Right. This isn't about inconveniencing me because I need to figure out if I'm going to stay home with my child, or maybe my partner's going to stay home with my child, or if there's a friend or family member or whatever it might be. People kind of forget about that. It's not really about Daron doesn't want to have to drive in.
Right. Yeah, because Daron's driven all over since 4 a.m. in the morning, so that's a non-decision there. But you're 100% correct. This is all about the safety of our student body and our staff, getting them to school. Yeah. And I've also learned over the years that it really doesn't matter what decision is made. There's always people that are going to be mad no matter what.
Right.
So we make the best decision we can based on the information we have for the safety of our student body, and that's what we do.
It's the same thing that we've talked about here about events that are happening in the community. It's about public safety, and we want our students to be safe. We want our staffs to be safe, and you have to make the best decision you can with the information you have at the time that it's time to make that decision. And sometimes you just want to encourage people to open their mind just a little bit. Right.
But I still expect them to call me and give me some advice, because that's typically what they do.
Right.
And part of this, I have some great partners in this too. Paul Meyer is the one that manages our bus fleet and our bus drivers. He's out driving as I am, and he does a nice job with that.
Yeah.
And then I have a connection with the county, so I call the county supervisor. That's in charge of all plowed roads in McLeod County. And I don't call him before 4 a.m. That's the rule. But at 4 a.m.,
good to know the rule.
Yes, I can call him. And they're covering the entire county.
Right.
So even when I'll have a parent say, well, it's fine here, or it's really bad here, our county's big enough where conditions would be different from one side to the other.
Well, just look at the weather we've had this year, how it skips Hutchinson, but Silver Lake gets a tornado or Glencoe gets a flood. Those things happen all the time. And again, people don't always understand the breadth and width of a decision that has to be made.
Absolutely. And one final thing on the e-learning days and calling snow days is I send a letter out each fall, which I'll do again this year. And I always encourage parents, you are the final decision. You will decide if you're going to put that child on the bus. And if you're not comfortable doing that, you always have the right to keep your child at home. And just give us a call and let us know that they're not coming for that reason, and they'll have an excused absence. So parents always have that option.
So if you're listening to this and watching, and you hear somebody going, oh, but I had to put my kid on the bus today, even though it was really crappy, you can remind them, actually they have an invitation to have an excused absence if you call in because of that. So,
and I put that in writing in the letter. And
you
I
bold
always
it,
remind,
put a blinky red light that goes with it. So. Let's move on to other things. I have a list down here. Let's talk about one of my very favorite topics when it comes to the school district.
Let's talk about Tiger Path Academy, should we?
Let's!
I think that's a great
idea.
idea.
You're representing today.
Yes.
I should have worn mine to represent. It would have been a little warm for me in the black today. However, if you've been watching this show for the last couple of years, you know I love Tiger Path. It's so important to our businesses. So let's talk about Tiger Path. You've got some new things going on. Let's talk from your perspective today. Yeah,
we're excited to introduce some new programming for our Tiger Path, and we continue to move forward with that program. So we're introducing a new course called the CNA course, the Certified Nursing Assistant course, where and that's part of our Sci-Hi Academy. So within the school year, through this course, we can actually certify some of our students that are interested in that occupation. So before they leave school, they will have that certification. So that's brand new, and we're excited to have that.
Kids wanted this.
Yes.
They were asking for it.
Absolutely.
So excited that they had some foresight into this and that the school was able to make it happen. Because you don't just snap your fingers and you have a CNA course.
Right.
There's a lot more that goes into it than that.
Yes, absolutely. You need some partnerships from the community. You need certain expertise to teach the course, certain credentials to do that. So that we've got that all together, and we're confident that that'll go well. And as you know, it's part of our Sci-Hi Academy.
Yes.
And healthcare in general is one of the fastest growing industries in our country. And why we don't have something like this in place, I don't understand, but we're going to get started with it.
Yeah. So. Healthcare is one of those industries where they are at a huge shortage for workers,
You
for
bet.
the right skilled workers for the pieces and the parts. Look at this.
Absolutely. Nice.
Isn't that beautiful?
Excellent.
Just makes my heart happy.
Yeah.
All right, tell me about more new things at Tiger
Yeah,
Path.
so in our Human Services Academy, we are adding Intro to Education.
Yes.
So that's a brand new course for
Yeah.
us, and that's a concurrent enrollment course.
So define concurrent enrollment.
So any students that register and complete this course successfully, they will get college credit through Southwest State and Marshall, and they'll also get a high school credit for it, and they won't have to leave our building. So we are partnering with the college on that course. It's exactly the same course that they would take in Marshall.
I love this.
Yes, so if you went to Marshall and you wanted to be a teacher, that's one of the first courses they would introduce. So our kids get to take it as a junior or senior in high school, and they get to take it right in our building.
Doesn't that make sense?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. We're really excited about it. And this also fulfills something else that we're very concerned about. There's an incredible teacher shortage across Minnesota,
Don't we know it,
especially
right?
outstate, and
Yes.
really across our country.
Yeah.
And really, it kind of came out of that idea. We need to do something about this teacher shortage ourselves. So we should have something to get our kids interested in teaching, and we have a lot of kids that are interested in it. So our hope is they'll take the course from us, they'll continue on in a 4-year school of their choice, and maybe they'll come back and they'll be a teacher in our system.
Which does happen.
Yes, we've got a number of our students that
Yeah.
graduate from Hutchinson High School, and 5, 6, 8 years later, they come back and they teach for us, and they're some of our best people.
Yeah.
And they're vested in the community, and they're Hutch Tigers.
They are lifelong Hutch Tigers.
Absolutely.
That's what we like.
Yes.
Hashtag Hutch and Hutch. Okay, now I think there's one other thing that we should talk about, and it has to do with a combination of two of the pathways.
Yes. So we've got a new course called the Tiger Manufacturing.
Yes.
And this is a brand new course. We don't quite have it filled yet at this time, but we're hoping to grow on it. And that's really a partnership between our Business Academy and our Stream Academy. So the idea is we'd have a student-run business where the business half would actually run the business, and then the Stream side would actually do the manufacturing, the building, the design work, whatever that might be. And we have had this informally for some time. As you know, you've been in and you've seen our tiny house.
Yes.
And you've seen some of the other products that we have done for other industries in Hutchinson. And so we've been doing this for a while, but we're trying to formalize it into a course.
Yeah. I love that other businesses in the community have already understood this concept and have come to the school saying, hey, can you help me with this project?
Yeah.
It lends itself to the kids being able to learn something, as well as providing product to a business.
Yeah, and it's just been an awesome experience for our kids.
Yeah.
Working with real businesses, they come into the schools,
Yeah.
and as much as we're trying to do something for them and helping them out, our kids gain a great amount of expertise from the folks that are in business, doing business. So it's been a great partnership.
Well, it's great, I think, for kids to see somebody they might know from their neighborhood or their church, or maybe you know, they're friends with somebody else's parent. Those people coming in and they go, wait a minute, I know you. Oh, you run a multi-million-dollar company making stuff out of wood?
Right.
And I can do that too because I feel like you're a regular person, I'm a regular person. There's such great value in that. And then picking up those little tiny skills that you just see under the surface, I think that lends itself beautifully to this program.
And really, our kids then get to network with these folks from business and industry. And as you know, we've had a number of our kids have gotten to know these folks, have done some work for them. The business and industry folks understand the quality of work they do, and they're hiring them.
They're hiring
either
them
for part-time jobs, full-time jobs. That's a benefit that we really didn't start off thinking that would be a primary focus, because it really wasn't, but that's what it's turned into.
It's been so good from the business side. So you know that I come from the business side. I listen to the businesses all the time, and they glowing reports about these young people who are coming in. And you know, sometimes people think about millennials in a less than positive light. these millennials are smart,
Right.
and they care about what they're doing, and they really have drive and passion. And once they find that drive and passion, they're all in.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so that's a great opportunity.
You bet. And, we've been recognized for Tiger Path.
Again.
Yes.
And again. And again. Never gets old, though.
Right. And I don't even want to say we have it figured out, but when we're putting all these pieces together, I think we're going down the right road and we're going in the right direction.
Well, people continue to come to me at the chamber. Miles at the EDA. Well, we know Miles just travels the country now.
Right.
I mean, he's got his own bus and van, I think, right? People are coming and asking questions. Superintendents are coming to you. People are coming to Andrea, our Tiger Path coordinator, and asking, how are you doing this? And I would agree, we don't have it all figured out yet.
Right.
But I think that the collaboration that our community demonstrates to others really lends itself to where people want to be able to move up to a new height for their own community to do this.
I couldn't agree more. In fact, we did a presentation last week for a community group that's part of the region, but we did this, and some of the questions I asked was about this collaboration. And I said, we have a unique relationship here in Hutchinson between the school district, the EDA, the chamber, and our industry partners. It's just incredible.
Private business has stepped up to the plate. This wouldn't be happening without private business supporting it. And any day that you go up to the high school during the school year, you're going to see multiple people in that building that don't teach there, don't have kids there. They are there simply to represent their business and help kids figure out what they want to do or help them learn in a different way.
Right. And that is very unique to Hutchinson High School.
Yeah. We're really very fortunate. So our time is wrapping up. Is there anything that you want to talk about? Because you have done a facility study, and we just have a couple minutes, but maybe just touch on the facility study a little bit.
Yeah, as you know, Mary, in 2015, we passed a bond referendum to do the renovation at our high school. Yes, and it's a beautiful new facility.
It's phenomenal.
And we are just wrapping that project up. So in 2015, we made the decision just to focus on the high school, but we also knew that we had a lot of facility needs at the elementary level. So we have conducted a facility study, and it's a birth to grade 5 facility study. We are at the end of that study, and we're ready to make a recommendation to the school board to move forward. So we will be making a recommendation to move forward with a bond referendum. To do some renovations at both West and Park and address the birth to grade 5 facility needs we have.
And some of the deterioration that Park Elementary in particular that I know about has been happening.
Yes.
And giving our young kids a great stepping stone before they get to that beautiful new school.
Yeah, absolutely. As you know, Park Elementary is a 1938 building, and from the outside it looks like a beautiful building, and actually structurally it is still a very good building.
Yeah.
It's just wore out in the inside. So all the mechanical systems, electrical, plumbing, that really needs to be replaced. So the idea is we would maintain that historical beauty of Park Elementary, and we'd make it a 21st century learning environment on the inside. So that's part of the project. And then we're also looking at doing some work at West Elementary to address our early childhood family education.
Okay.
The little brown building just north of West Elementary, that was a temporary building that's been there 30 years. And it's time to do something about that. So
we're really good at using our resources, right?
Yeah, we've gotten our money out of that little building.
We've really stretched that.
But
that's
now
great.
it's time to do something more than that. So that's
awesome.
what we're looking at.
So obviously people can watch here on HCVN, they can watch the school board meeting and the proceedings that happen with those, and those are regularly scheduled. And if they have more questions about that, certainly they can reach out to you or any other staff.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you so very much for taking time. I know this is a busy time of year for you, but I think it's great that we can get some information out to the public and give them a little lunch and learn about what's coming up for School District 423, Hutchinson Public Schools. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us today. I hope that you learned something. I know I did. We'll look for you next month. It's Arts and Crafts Festival coming up September 13th and 14th, and I believe that we'll be seeing you right directly from that festival. Thanks so much for joining us, and we will see you next month.